Just Mongo here. Today we're doing a deck profile on Zombie World. This is actually one of the first decks that really got me into this game years ago with the Zombie Horde Structure deck reloaded, and I've been playing this deck ever since, on and off. Anyway, getting into the deck profile, we were playing 2 copies of Doom King Baldrach. This is a level 8, that during the standby phase of either player's turn, whenever there's a face-up field spell, not counting just Zombie World, either player, any field spell, you can special summon this thing from your grave in defense position. Also, during a chain a zombie monster activates an effect, you can either negate it or banish a card from the field or grave. You can't do both during the exact same chain, however, you can do both during the exact same turn, which is cool. This guy is really neat. I also really like his art. I know that has nothing to do with it, but he's pretty cool. Next up, we're on 2 copies of Jacko Bolan. This is a level 7 fire that you can discard a zombie monster, special summon this card from your hand. During the opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can target 1 zombie monster in either grave, special that monster, but banish it leaves the field, then banish this face-up card into the end phase. Which is pretty neat. It's just another way to get big bodies on field, just recursion. It's a cool card. Since we are on a more zombie-heavy actual build, and we aren't playing the dangers, we can afford to run this guy. Also playing 1 copy of Chang-Chi the Spirado. This card's really cool. A lot of the combo revolves around Spirado and just getting it back. It's a pretty cool card. We're on 2 copies of Necroworld Banshee. When it's face up, Zombie World can't be destroyed by card effects. Also, neither player can target with card effects. And a quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or grave to activate Zombie World directly from your hand or deck. We honestly don't really use it as protection too much. However, just being able to pitch it from the grave to get Zombie World directly from a deck is really useful. There have been a couple games where just sitting on Banshee and World is pretty useful. Well, in fact, she does have 18 attack, which is fairly strong. Next up, we're on 2 copies of Gozuki, just again a good card, as well as 2 Mezuki. I flip-flop between 2 and 3 Mezuki, however, I think 2 is fine. I think 3, you run the risk of breaking a little bit more. We're also on 1 copy of Ghost Sleeper. This is just another way to get to your Ghost Fusion, which we'll get to in a bit. We aren't running the one that searches on normal summon, just because I feel like we have a couple better things to normal summon than that card. Speaking of, Unizombie is the best card in the entire deck for a normal summon. This thing is great. It sends a zombie card from your hand to the grave to raise a level, and you can also send a zombie from deck to grave to raise a level as well, which is really good. Modulates levels and just gets stuff into the grave. That's really useful. Well, on 2 Bloom, this is pretty much only here. When it's sent to grave, it banishes, then searches a, I think it's level 5 or higher zombie. You can special it from deck, which is cool. We're just grabbing Doom King off of this most of the time. However, it does lock you into only specialing zombies for the rest of the turn, which is pretty bad. But we're trying to play around that by playing more zombie stuff. Mad Muller's pretty cool as well. He does lock you into zombies as well, which is why we're just playing the 1. And we are playing a couple of the Shiranui stuff in the extra. So we're on 1 Spectral Sword. Spectral Sword, in my opinion, is a little slow just because it activates during the next turn. You can't activate the turn it's sent to the grave. You have to wait a turn, but it is fine. It does let you get into some of your Shiranui extra deck stuff. Hand traps, we're playing 3 Ash, 3 Ghost Bell, 3 Ghost Mortar. In my opinion, these are really great hand traps. Not only are they zombie tuners, but they're also just good hand traps. So even if you don't use them as they're intended, just being able to normal summon them, you can go into synchro plays. I've done it before. For spells, of course, we're on 3 copies of Zombie World. This is a great card. I love it. As well as 3 copies of Super Poly. This deck is great with Super Poly, really recommend it, as well as 1 copy of Ghost Fusion. Because we're playing Ghost Fusion as like a side engine, and we're not playing any of the Psychics or Punk stuff, we only need the 1. We go into it sometimes. It's not... Honestly, you could cut this and the one that searches it when it's sent to the grave, as they aren't necessary, but just cool additions. The 1, of course, Terra, Foolish, and Called By. And for the traps, we're rolling one copy of Return of the Zombies and one Rivalry. I really like Return of the Zombies. It's a normal trap that raids banish one zombie monster on the field, then special a zombie from the grave of the player who controlled it to their field and defense position. So it can remove stuff from the opponent. If this card's sent to your grave, you can shuffle one of your banished zombie monsters in the deck, and if you do set it, this card with banishment leaves the field. You can only use each effect of Return of the Zombies once per turn. So this is pretty cool. It can, of course, bounce the opponent's cards and get a different one out from grave. It can also do it to your stuff as well. So it does. This has actually won me a game in battle before. Just getting a second attack is just to clear the game. It's recursion for your banished zombies, so stuff like Mizuki. It's all around a great card, and I really do like it. However, it is just fine at 1. Moving on to the extra deck here. 1 copy of Draco Nether Soul Dragon. This is, of course, one of your Super Pally targets alongside Garura. We're only playing these two. If you want to play a second Nether Soul Dragon, go ahead. I'm not holding against you. I think this ratio is fine, in my opinion. For Synchros, we're rolling Immortal Dragon, Shiranui Squire Saga, Red Eyes Zombie Necro Dragon, Skeletal Dragon Felgrand, Psy-Frame Lord Omega. This is really good for recycling some of your banished zombies, stuff like Mizuki. Shiranui Sun Saga, Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord. I'm going to mispronounce this really badly, but Gashadora? Whatever this is, the Skeletal Mayakashi. We're playing one of them, and then 1 Psychic and Punisher. For Xyz, we're just only 1 Zombie Vampire. This deck can pretty easily get to level 8s. As well as for Lynx, 1 Sucker, 1 Savior, and then 1 Apollousa. I know that Apollousa isn't a zombie, but this deck can fairly easily get a couple materials up to make an Apollousa, which sometimes is your best play, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, especially your guys' builds. This deck's pretty cool, and I quite like it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeet.